If you're new here, thanks for stopping by, and if you've been here before, welcome back. Today, we're not actually playing a game. We're doing what we always do on Monday. We're writing. In that, I have written a significant amount more, chat, while you were away. While I was away, while I was not doing this, I can't be stopped or tamed. Sometimes a story crawls into my soul and I can't get it. I can't do anything until it comes out. So here we are. I can tell exactly where we stopped off because I've been writing on a thing that doesn't have a tab key, so I can't put paragraph breaks like this. So I know that I wrote this with all of you, and I know that from here to here to here, I wrote while I was away. Yeah, it was written on my phone. I have Google Docs on my phone. They don't have a tab key. I can make it do that. I can make it paragraph tab thing work right, but I didn't. So here we are. Also, tonight's snack is an entire pizza. I forget what's on it. Some of it's butternut squash, which I know sounds weird, but it works. Mmm. Some of it's butternut squash, some of it's fancy cheese, some of it is prosciutto. Oh, and rosemary. The pizza probably sounds really weird, but it was 25 cents. It was a quarter. They did not sell good, so they got put on sale really fast. And then they sold great, because they were a quarter. Yeah! You have to cook it yourself, of course, but it did it. Okay, so we're going to learn about editing today, chat. Now, there's two flavors of editing. And everyone does a little of them depending on the style of writing that they have. You may not know your writing style. You may not know what you're most comfortable with for editing yet. Because I'm willing to bet that a lot of you just write whatever you're writing. And then once you're done, you're like, yeah, I did it. And that's that. You might go back and reread it a couple of times, maybe once or twice. But like, you write it and it's done. Or you're writing for, like, role-playing reasons. And in that case, you write it and it's done. You can't really go back and edit that necessarily. So, bear with me just a second. I got a very early birthday present tonight, and do you know what it was? It was friends. I have had friends procured for me. Some of them they're all smaller than me. Some of them have party hats. Some of them are too small for party hats. I know, right? I've been brought friends. They can also play with Edmund, my son-loving cousin, who also lives here. You see him sometimes, but I have more friends now. Very excitement. Oh no, I need that. Oops, my stream manager is there. Anyway, I had to say that it came. I had to say it arrived because, like, it got delivered to me. I'll show you later. I'll show you a picture later of everybody. I got new friends. There's so many of them. I don't know any of their names yet. Right. Back to what I was saying about editing stuff. Okay, when you're editing stuff, there's a couple of main ways that you do it. Some people will go through and edit as they go. Like, they'll write a couple of pages, they'll go back, they'll go through, they'll edit them. Oh my gosh, the octopi are glow in the dark? My new friends are glow in the dark? Excuse me? What? Oh my gosh, they are! You're gonna be just fine with me! How do you do that? Oh, this is gonna be very exciting. Oh boy. Oh, you don't understand, Chad, how much I love to glow in the dark. Oh, it's Slither.io time. You're right. There's an ad break going. I'm gonna do this thing where I eat with the snake, but I also eat with my mouth. Cause whoa! Because I hunger. Mm. Mm. So that's why we have to be careful about go fast. I see. I'm just a peaceful little snake. Please don't hurt me. I'm just a little guy. Oh, you're free! We're gonna play Slither for a second. Until the robot tells me we're all good. Whoa, friend! I really like this pizza, but I would not have paid $7 for it. 25 cents was the correct price for this pizza. Oh, that little snake played a game and lost. You got greedy, friend. I didn't know there was a mini-map for this game. I came up with a character idea, but nowhere to go from here. Ooh, I like that. Give me a second. Oh, I'm toast. This worm knows what they're doing. I can do this for a while, wormy friend. I see they discovered that that I can do that for a while. Goodbye, worm friend. Oh, we're back. There we go. I hope they're excited. I hope they know I did that on purpose. Alright. I came up with a character idea, but no idea where to go from here. Man finds a god in a random cave, only goes slightly insane. I feel like I'm taking this surprisingly well, all things considered. I love that! I love that. Do you know... does... Chad, I'll be a second. I have to stop laughing at my own joke that I haven't even said out loud yet. Does he then free the Israelites from Egyptian bondage? I think I'm funny. I think I'm hilarious. Welcome in, Coco. Cat at least in part described Moses, and I had to make the joke. Had to be done. Oh, it had to be done. Super excited. Okay, I am super excited for my birthday present, but that will have to wait. Boop. Now, what we're doing today is we're editing. I'm going to teach you Surprisingly, this man does not do this. Amazing. I'm going to teach you guys how editing works when I do it. I'm one of those people who likes to edit kind of as I go. But you do, at the end of the day, still have to do a big pass and edit everything that you've done to make sure it fits together, to make sure it has the same voice, to make sure of all of that stuff. So, usually what I like to do is do like a for funsies read through, where I just sort of read through everything, make sure it all sounds right, make sure like nobody's wildly out of character, and that what character I have is okay. And as I do that, I'll catch like little grammar errors, I'll catch little like, oh wait, hold on, I think there's a better way to say this. And stuff like that. And then I'll go back and think, wait, hold on. I'm reading through this and this behavior doesn't make sense yet. Why are we behaving like this? Why are we doing this? What do we do instead? Or is there a justification for this that I have later that makes it make sense and therefore it's fine to keep here? I already know from reading through this earlier today that there's something that I want to change a certain order of events, and rearrange it a little bit. But I'm still going to read through this just to give you guys an idea of how that process works. So I got 11 pages to read you all. So I guess settle in. Also, someone rightly pointed out to me that I don't necessarily need a clue codex as a second document. I can just do that. I can just mark these things in here. So that's a thing I've been doing. 11 whole pages as a treat. It's true. So I gotta get my writing voice on. I gotta put this a little bit better centered. No, that didn't work. That's fine. The alarms blared, forcing Byrne through his wake cycle before he really felt charged. He was fully charged, of course. Dead to full only took an hour or so with his modern battery and contact charger. But he was still trying to shake the cobwebs from his processor even after he left his charging station and was slipping into his business suit. He fussed with the boots until the tops were fastened tightly around his calves, then cinched the waistband around his waist, following the same procedure for his gloves and fastening shut the coat. He slipped the tie around his neck and adjusted it to fit the receiver in his ear. Hello, world! We are bringing you all the hits of the most recent emergency alert, starting with an old favorite, Pan Pan, Pan Pan, Pan Pan. Pulsar spotted near the wall. Bunsen had been programmed to keep the spirits of the team up, and in this case that meant he most often sounded like a radio DJ from Earth's ancient past. Good morning, Bunsen. As usual, Blaze's voice came through the comms, frustrated to be torn away from whatever she had been doing, to doing whatever they were about to be doing. Byrne had never really had time to ask what Blaze did when she was in her downtime cycle, but he always found himself strangely curious about why she sounded so annoyed. Hi, Bunsen! Byrne couldn't see Sparks, but he knew she was waving as if she could be seen. He heard Velcro tear and knew she would need to refasten her glove. Hey, Bunsen, I've got a request. Byrne could hear Shar's heavy boots pounding metal on the way to the office. Go ahead, caller, you are live and on the air! The comms booth was quiet, but Byrne had always assumed they were soundproofed. He didn't remember what it had been like to be a comms unit, so he wouldn't know one way or another unless the old data hadn't been fully scrubbed. Can you play something upbeat this time? The playlist last time was, Char trailed off, not wanting to upset Bunsen, no doubt. Boring! Sparks filled in. And sad! How many people was that lady gonna break up with? None of them were real people. It's just a song. It's meant to make people who did break up feel better. Byrne double-checked to make sure his business suit was in order. And Char's right, Bunsen. Give us something upbeat. You heard it here first, folks. Breakup songs are out, and upbeat songs of the summer are in. Bunsen clicked a few buttons in the booth, and the heavy drums and wailing guitars sounded. That is not better, Blaze grumbled. I don't know. I like it. Byrne grinned at the perturbed look he imagined on Blaze's face. Byrne would have matched his steps to the rhythm if he hadn't needed to get to the office as quickly as he did. He bolted down the hall past uniform doors and blue-lined white walls until, finally, they gave way to the heavy steel bulkhead door that protected the facility from any work that might make it into the office itself. The old data. Oh, no. Chat. Not that old data. I ate the 12th page. Oh, no. Why would you eat the rest of my writing? Fanfiction? Eated it. OC lore? Eated it. Oh no! As usual, Byrne was the last one to make it to the door. He never seemed to be quite as fast as everyone else getting into their suits, or running to the office, or doing anything that needed processing. But he chalked that up to being reprogrammed into a different kind of unit. There was probably all kinds of junk data that hadn't been overwritten yet. Once that was done, he was sure his processing speed would pick right up and match the others. Good to see you finally got here, Slowpoke. Blaze tapped her palm on the panel by the door. It heaved itself open and let them enter into the office. The office was enormous and open. Emergency catwalks crisscrossed the domed ceiling, with metal ladders leading to them at regular intervals. Byrne didn't see why they'd be needed. The comms unit would raise the alert and call for backup, and they could all be completely rebuilt if required, or used for scrap if that wasn't possible. His footsteps echoed on the concrete floor along with the rest of the team. There was no facade on this side of the door, so the walls and floors still showed the pits and scorches of work that had gotten out of the scope of the downsizers assigned to it. So far, they were the only ones inside, which meant whatever the issue was that they were facing, it had been deemed something only a single brand was needed to resolve. Yeah, I think I'm right with what I said out loud. Only ones inside, which meant whatever the issue was that... Uh-huh. Whatever issue they were facing. There we go. That's better. We don't need as many words, which is weird. Bunsen, where is everyone else? Blaze's voice was tight as a rope, and Byrne could feel it coil around all of them. It's a private show today! Just the four of you and me, your wonderful host, Bunsen responded. Byrne felt the metaphorical rope pull taut in his chest. Okay. Well... Blaze inhaled and exhaled sharply. She didn't need to do either of those things, but it helped keep her processors from overheating due to emotional stress. We'd better hope there aren't very many, and that this is a quick job. Blaze had said the same thing so often Byrne suspected it was part of her programming. Then again, he was also wishing that this would go quickly. He was tired, or pretty sure he was whatever passed for tired when he was entirely mechanical. He yawned, another humanized behavior that had been programmed into all of them to make it easier for humans... for the humans they were protecting to understand their needs. So we go out, look around, fire anyone we see, and come home? Byrne must not have made proper contact with the charging dock. He was supposed to disagree. That was his job, the sole point of his existence. Or, well, it was now anyway. Not for the first time, he wondered what he'd been like before. Aw, I wanted to go first, Sparks pouted. Byrne knew for a fact that the reaction was part of her programming, meant to remind their human handlers, back when brands had had a brand ambassador, that her purpose was scouting the area, and that scouting needed to be done first for safety, without feeling intrusive in the way that the older models often did. You go out the door first. We'll follow along. Blaze stopped a few steps short of the access door to the outside. Okay, so that we're all clear on the plan. It's just a few pulsars. We go out, we fire anything that moves, we come back, no worse for wear. Everyone nodded in agreement until Byrne remembered he was supposed to disagree. That was the job of a contrarian unit. He was a contrarian unit, not a comms unit, and he needed to start acting like it. What if that's not all that is? What do you mean? Blaze didn't seem annoyed or curious, just flatly matter-of-fact. What if there's more the cameras didn't see, or the humans monitoring them made a mistake? Byrne ignored the cold fingers that clenched around his heart. Neither the feeling nor the heart were real, just leftover comms unit programming that hadn't been overwritten yet. There could be a... Don't jinx it, Byrne. Don't even say it. Blaze glared. Sparks and chair shifted, waiting for direction from their fearless leader. The plan is the plan, and if something changes, we'll deal with it then. Blaze opened the door, and Sparks raced out ahead. The landscape was, as it always was, a mess of crumbling buildings that had probably been deeply impressive when they had been the bustling hive of a city that humanity called home. But now were hiding places for pulsars, and worse. Sparks returned almost as quick as she'd left. There's a few more than a few, but nothing we can't handle. Images and coordinates appeared directly in their minds. See, nothing to worry about. I mean processors there. Byrne doesn't think in terms of human things for reasons. No, not processors. Drives? Processors for now. We'll figure it out later. Burn doesn't know what nothing is. Hey, Burn, throw Blaze out the window. It'd be funny. No! Don't throw Blaze out the window. She's great. You'll see, she's great. See? Nothing to worry about. You probably won't even need me. Shar smacked Burn good-naturedly on the back, nearly pitching him forward before he corrected himself. Burn tried to smile, but it didn't quite work out. Let's go. Sparks, you take point. Shar, you bring up the rear. Burn, left flank. I'll go right. Bunsen, let us know if anything shows up in the cameras. Blaze pointed as she spoke. It was a gesture no longer needed, another relic of the brand ambassadors. They split up, following Sparks' coordinates. Pulsars didn't usually bother them, so firing them was as easy as pointing the flamethrower and delivering their final notice. Technically, it was plasma they were using, so that nothing remained of the Pulsar's corrupted body of flesh and plastic and steel and whatever else they could merge into themselves. Burn was thankful he couldn't smell it. They smoked terribly when they went up, and he couldn't imagine what went into that thick, oily filth was healthy. Burn carried on, lost in the random data that flitted through his processor. He was so distracted he almost didn't notice when he nearly stepped off a stair that led into what must have been a basement. He would have moved on, but before he could, something caught his attention. There was a faint blue glow, ebbing like a tide Burn had never seen. It was practically hypnotic, and before he knew what he was doing, his feet had carried him down the stairs. There was static coming through his tie, but he ignored it. If it was important, Bunsen would boost the signal. Oh, I need to mark this here. I didn't comment on it, and I don't think it's in the clue decks. This is because he has a brain. Hello, spacebar? Spacebar, you're kind of required here. Okay, it's fixed. There we are. This is because he has a human brain, and humans are still affected at least a little by Lucid. Don't go into the basement! We don't! Now we're going into the basement. But I mean, we have to. It's the only way to progress the story in a meaningful sense. Yeah, you're right. That's why horror movies go the way that they do. Burn picked his way along by the faint light, pulled along by the gently pulsing waves. No, that's along too many times in a same place. Through the halls, I think. Yeah, there we go. Burn picked his way through the halls by the faint light, pulled along by the gently pulsing waves. It seemed almost like it was breathing, and Burn found himself synced to the rhythm despite himself. Burn found he synced to the rhythm despite himself. Yeah, that's good. The glow grew brighter. Wow, I missed a word. The glow grew brighter as he made his way further into the depths, until it was hard to see past it. He heard a soft, wet sound of labored breathing, and as he rounded the corner, still focused on the light, he stopped cold. It was a Cepheid. It had latched onto what was left of the skyscraper's basement, and it nearly filled the whole empty space. I need parking garage in that point. This is a parking garage. There we go. It had latched onto what was left of the skyscraper's parking garage, and it nearly filled the whole empty space. Blood and mucus oozed out of empty holes that pulsars had slipped out of, dripping onto what was left of the rusted machines and cracked asphalt that had been left behind when the humans had fled. As Burn stood frozen in place, his attention was caught by the undulations of a hole set high in the beast. It quivered and sucked in on itself before one final squelching heave spit forth a brand new pulsar. Burn recognized the smooth white lines of one of the legs that was straightening to force the roughly humanoid body upright. The red glow of a downsizer... Why is that plural? I didn't write that plural. I know I didn't. My phone autocorrect tries to kill me regularly. That's why. The red glow of a downsizer was still visible, even though at least some of the flesh had forced its way into the cracks. The other was constructed of rebar and gave Burn the momentary impression of a pirate. The pulsar slipped in the puddle of fluids below it, sprawling onto all fours. It pushed up again, this time stepping carefully forward. Byrne didn't dare move lest he draw its attention. Who knew how many more pulsars were half-produced in the roiling mass of flesh before him? He needed backup. They needed multiple brands to fire something like this, and he was only a single downsizer. His processor finally caught up to what was happening, and he turned for the door. The sound of his panicked footsteps rang out behind him, and the echo sounded out of time. He barely had time to wonder how that could happen when his arm was yanked backwards. The business suit tore as it was supposed to, and Byrne kept running. He hit the stairs and tripped on his way up. Something grabbed at him, tearing the suit from the knee down on first one leg, then the other. Byrne kicked hard and felt something pop the casing around his foot. He pulled and yanked and tugged, and finally, with a sickening snap, his leg detached at the knee. With the sudden loss of the counterforce, the pulsar toppled backwards into the dark below. Byrne righted himself as well as he could, and hand over hand made his way back to the surface. Radio chatter bombarded him as soon as he hit the air, but he didn't have time for the, "Where were you?" and "Respond, respond, respond!" There were more important things. No, I think I like hit air, actually. Hit the air is more grammatically correct, but hit air is more of what you would actually say. Good thing they've got a repair guy with them. Yeah, it's a stylistic thing. Radio chatter bombarded him as soon as he hit air, but he didn't have time for the, "Where were you?" and "Respond, respond, respond!" There were more important things. "There's a Cepheid!" Byrne forced the message through the emergency channel. "The hits just keep coming!" Bunsen chimed in, cutting the music they'd been working by. "Mayday, mayday, mayday! Cepheid sighted! Repeat, Cepheid sighted! Coordinates follow!" Byrne tuned out the rest. He needed to get back to Char, get his leg patched, and something. He should have known what, but something was distracting him. He kept thinking he was leaking fluid, and it felt like his stump leg was on fire. None of those things were true, but he was still using the full might of his processor to keep from screaming. Byrne made it back to Char, collapsed. Oh, wait, I have to I have to fix this. Or at least put a note. Byrne is having phantom limb syndrome. Whoops. The captain lives by the sword. I can't reproduce that song, actually. I tried. Crying out Mayday. I probably could if I did more singing along to it and less just listening to it where I can't sing along to it. Okay. Byrne made it back to Char, collapsing against her huge frame. She was built like a brick house, and never was Byrne more grateful for that than in this moment. It was comforting to fall into the arms of someone so much bigger, and it tricked his mind into thinking he was safe. Once again, that means processor. Byrne? Where's your leg? Char hoisted him up to get a better look. "No time for field repair. Everybody back to the office." Blaze streaked by, Sparks hot on her heels. Char slung Byrne into a bridle carry and followed. They were back through the doors before the first of the other brands had even mobilized. "I don't know what you were thinking, Byrne, but you are going to the doctor," Blaze glared. "Get him through decontamination protocol and get him on his way." Going to the doctor really meant he was going in for repairs and maintenance, but humans hated to be reminded that downsizers weren't as human as they appeared, so they were programmed to use the closest they could to human terms. Byrne limped along, still reeling from a pain that was more than just his damage avoidance software going haywire. I'm gonna put a note here for myself, too. That's true. True facts. phantom limb syndrome. Fear, may I kiss Char? I guess. If you'd like. But she very big. I have decided a few things about these robots. Up to and including their physical sizes. Sparks is 5 foot nothing. Tops. She's little. Tiny, even. She's tiny. And speedy. Blaze is approximately the same size as a human person. Maybe a little taller than the average for a human person, but like, she is approximately the same size as a human person. So she's about 5'8", I guess. That's, yeah, we'll just use American measurements. Most of you guys are American, you'll understand what I mean. She's approximately about 5'8". And Char is, probably the least human looking of the lot of them, or at least the one that's most out there in design. She big. She big. She like 6 or 7 feet tall, definitely. She is definitely a size that humans can be, but not a size that humans are often. Okay, imagine for a moment, if you will, how a dwarf is built, right? Wait, no, I got this. Imagine for a moment, if you will, those of you that have seen Steven Universe, imagine Bismuth for a moment. You did it. Congratulations. That's what we're looking for here. She big. She big. Fair, I am marrying this girl. This woman is amazing. 10 out of 10. I will say too that I've decided to give them slightly less human characteristics the less they have to interact with humans. So Blaze should have the most human characteristic. Whereas someone like Sparks, who doesn't really interact with the humans. So back in the day, there were brand ambassadors, right? And a brand ambassador's job was basically handling a brand, a team of robots. Their job was handling them. So they made the final decision on what these guys did, and like the job that Blaze is doing, the leader of the little group, that's field command. But like once it was decided that brand ambassadors were no longer needed or no longer viable as a strategy, they just let the robots do it themselves. That's not to say that there aren't still people who know how to be a brand ambassador and there aren't still brand ambassadors. It's just they're no longer needed. You don't need human handlers when you have a single human city. And that's kind of it. There we go. Oh yeah, where was I? Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot I needed to give her a voice. Oh yeah. You must be Byrne. Up you go. His heart sank when he saw the name badge hanging around the doctor's neck. Dr. Veronica Fleetman was the acting president of Aurora, and that meant that not only was she a doctor, she controlled the whole city. What she was doing... Oh, there we go. What she was doing repairing a nobody unit like Byrne was beyond him, but he lay himself obediently on the table. Oh, I have to make a note here, too. Tough luck, buddy. You're the main character. Also, you are her pride and joy. Scusi. Dr. Veronica was a doctor? Yes, Dr. Veronica Fleetman was a doctor, but also the president of a company. Because I, am secretly... I am secretly someone who, when I was very small, maybe only a whole centimeter, was like, I want I want to go on adventures. I'm going to be a race car astronaut doctor, and it's going to be great. It's going to be great, y'all. Okay. There's a lot on this page because Dr. Fleetman is a mean person. What she was doing repairing a nobody unit like Byrne was beyond him, but he lay himself obediently on the table. I hear you went off path... Let's try this again. I hear you went off the pathing your scout set for you. She began the careful process of checking which connections were still intact and which were beyond help. Byrne didn't answer. Sometimes humans talked to themselves when they repaired units, and saying anything upset them terribly. Byrne, why did you go down there? You're a counter-tactician, not a scout. Oh yeah, I gotta note that too. Counter-tactician is the official name for a contrarian unit. No one uses it. And why would they? I wish I was her pride and joy. Too bad. Oh, also, hi, Jelly Bucket. I saw a light. I thought a pulsar had taken shelter. It had been close to where the pulsar had been, so that was probably true. Dr. Fleetman paused in her work, but returned to it. Well, don't make a habit of it, but all's well that ends well, I suppose. Dr. Fleetman hit some connection or other that made Byrne cry out in pain. There was silence, occasionally broken by the hiss of a wire soldered or the click of a piece back into place. Byrne lay still, but his processor refused to go into standby. He was slow at everything. He had lost a leg to a pulsar, and worst of all, he was acting outside his programming. It was fine today, but enough mistakes and he could be scrapped. He was lucky enough to have been reprogrammed after what had happened last time. Still, something nagged at him. And who better to ask than Dr. Fleetman? Oh yeah, I gotta mark that in too. Copyright revoked is my favorite way to say the robots died. Fear, if I was in robot in this universe, what do you think I'd be? Ooh, that's a good question. I'd want to put you... So the thing is, I'd want to put you as a scout, but I don't think you would be. I also don't think... I think the closest thing that you would be if you were a robot here would be either comms unit or repair. And that kind of depends on how you want to support people, because both of those things are supports. Comms unit is for keeping people's spirits up. And knowing information and using the cameras and their eyes and everything to see through. And the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, yep, that would be a comms unit. No, but it's all about knowing stuff. You'd get to be the eye's special little boy. Gender neutral. I've decided that I'm just going to append gender neutral to literally every gendered term I come across, whether it needs it or not. Comms units also don't really have to interact with anyone outside of their brand. You'll see why when you see them. King, gender neutral. The king, derogatory. Yeah, let's go. Go off, my liege, gender neutral. King is becoming kind of... King and queen are becoming kind of gender neutral, which I'm here for. Like, we have gotten so used to saying, I'm king of blank. The king, Elva Satori. Oh, yeah. But yeah, no, we're getting there. We'll get there eventually with great hard work. With great hard work, we will make all these royal titles non-gendered. Who needs to know what a Marchioness is anyway? I don't know if that's the right way to pronounce that word. It's definitely not spelled like it looks like it should be pronounced. Right. Why wasn't I reset as a comms unit? The silence was so complete that Byrne could hear the humming of the lights. It was a long time before Dr. Fleetman broke it. You are an experiment. You may have been slow to act and too strong-willed for your own good, but those traits suit a counter-tactician. A part slipped and fell onto the table with a skittering click, like the paws of a puppy on tile. His hand twitched as though he were going to reach out for a pet, but Byrne didn't have a dog. The idea, Dr. Fleetman snapped the part back into place, is to suit the unit to the task. We've given all of you unique personalities so that you can work autonomously, but the fact is that you weren't suited for your previous role. Well, couldn't I be programmed to be? Byrne was going to say more, but something slipped and a pair of connections that shouldn't have touched came into contact. When he recovered from the shock, his new leg was in place. All done. You're free to go. Dr. Fleetman stood back so that Byrne could get up. Thank you. He took a step and found he was good as new. Not a problem. There's a lot riding on you. She patted his shoulder, but he didn't think it was comfort she was offering. He turned to leave, but stopped when Dr. Fleetman spoke again. Oh, and Byrne? Questions like that one are why you're a counter-tactician. She smiled and waved him out of the room. I gotta put... I gotta put a reminder to myself. Oh, Dr. Fleetman is... Oh, she is a monster. I love it. She is absolutely the antagonist, as you've all cottoned on to. I see why I put this in the order I put this. But there's something I need to change around, and it's the order of these things. I think I'm going to move central communications to later, and I think I'm going to do that right now, actually. Yeah. Yeah, I got to do that right now. Chat, I was going to read through this to show you the order that it went in, but I think I can... fix this up. We don't need you to wake up in the morning. That's for later. Yeah, okay. Okay, this whole thing has to go... Whoa. Control X is a dangerous tool. An extremely dangerous tool. You gots to be careful using it because you can lose that whole chunk of writing. Control Z exists to help you, to save you from that situation, but like... horrifying. Okay. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. Okay. I was gonna have... Okay. I capitalize these things because they're weird and don't mean what they mean. There! So, I'm sure you've all noticed this, that I capitalize certain things, even though they wouldn't necessarily need to be capitalized. I'm doing that for my sake. I see you got third. I'm doing that for my sake. The reason that I capitalize words is because they don't mean what they mean. Like, when I use brand here, what I mean is a group of robots. Those won't be capitalized in, like, a final draft. Brand, Pulsar, Cepheid, those things don't need to be capitalized. But I'm doing it for my sake. That's just a convention I have when I write like this. I use it for magic. I used to use it for magic words when I'm writing fantasy and stuff. Yeah, just like how I use the universe. I'm not talking about the actual universe. Exactly. Or, like, there's a difference between door, as in just, like, lowercase d, door, and door, capital D. One of those is a door that you have on a house. And one of those is the Platonic concept of a door, from which all other concepts of a door stem. That you can walk through and wind up anywhere because every door is a door. Door is in the distortion. Well, there you go. See? It's like that. Anyway, originally I was going to have him go to the common room, but I think it's better if, like, go to the common room the next day kind of thing, but I think it's much better if he just goes back and is like, I'm fixed up. Hi, hello, everybody. I'm okay. Byrne went back to the office to put his brand at ease and see what had become of the Cepheid he'd spotted. The atmosphere was heavy, so it must have gone south fast. Byrne gulped, another annoying leftover from when humans had needed to be put at ease. Before he could talk to anyone else, Blaze waved him over. I need to change that. Another annoying leftover from when humans needed... physical communication. Likewise, downsizer is capitalized here because it doesn't mean what it means. Boop. Byrne gulped, another annoying leftover from when humans had needed physical communication with the downsizers. Before he could talk to anyone else, Blaze waved him over. Deal him in. Blaze was holding a hand of cards. Byrne sat at the table and accepted the hand Char dealt him. I hope you're pleased with yourself. Should I not be? A Cepheid that close would have been a disaster. Byrne discarded a pair. I had to get my sensors recalibrated because of you. It was boring. Sparks piped up. She drew a card from Blaze's hand and pouted. It was needed. You missed a whole Cepheid. Blaze discarded 2 pair and seemed rather pleased with herself, enough that Byrne thought she might even be smug. It was underground. It was a miracle Byrne saw it. Char discarded a pair. How did you see it anyway? There were stairs. I almost tripped into them, and then I saw a light. Byrne held 3 of a kind and took a moment to decide which 2 to discard. He kept the diamond 4. I followed it because... Byrne stopped. He couldn't finish the sentence because he didn't know why he had done what he had. He tried again. I followed it because... Sparks' nose wrinkled. A facial gesture only present in scouts. She discarded a pair. Blaze, I think he's broken. He's not broken. Blaze discarded another pair. His processor just has a bunch of... probably just has a bunch of junk data. No, Byrne started. Char interrupted him. He was just at the doctor. If he was broken, the doctor would know. Char drew a card from Byrne's hand and discarded a pair of 4s. I don't know, Byrne said as quietly as he could. I don't know why I did it. In the silence around the table, he drew a card from Sparks' hand and was annoyed to see it was a single queen.
Then run your diagnostic. It'll tell you. Blaze waited a moment. We'll wait while you do, and I promise no peeking from any of us.
Aww.
Sparks pouted, discarding a pear and setting her hand face down on the table. I can do it later, Byrne tried. Blaze's eyes narrowed. Do it now. It takes less time than arguing. Blaze's foot was tapping on the floor. Click, 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 click. Byrne shrank back into himself. Here, I'll run it. Open up. Char knocked on Byrne's head, and he was momentarily dizzy. Huh. Maybe something is wrong.
Oh yeah, right. I have to make a note here. 'Cause he has a brain.
Because there's a brain in there.
That's getting sloshed around. He actually has a brain. He does.
Fear, the artists and writers for the new Mega Man comics were revealed. The writer for the Zero series is Ian Hecking Flynn?
Let's go! They're playing Brulatro. They are playing Old Maid, actually. There is a trick-taking game that the rest of the robots are playing, but Byrne's brand specifically has been programmed to play a much easier game because his processor, which is a human brain, can't actually keep up. Oh! Oh, okay. I don't actually know Old Maid. Fair enough. The object of Old Maid is this. You play with a deck of 52 playing cards. You take out 3 of the queens. And then all it is the object of the game is to discard your entire hand. You discard your hand by discarding a pair. Or if you have 4 of a kind, you can discard all 4. You can't discard 3 of a kind, though. You can only discard a pair, and then you're left with whatever the other card is. So if you have the Old Maid in your hand, you don't want that. That's bad. So I'll explain this scene in a minute, because I think it's interesting. I'll go through the rules of Old Maid for you guys, and explain what's going on in this scene. Here, I'll run it. Open up. Char knocked on Byrne's head and he was momentarily dizzy. Huh, maybe something is wrong. I thought it was a pulsar trying to hide. Byrne spit out. Blaze discarded a pair. See? Not so hard, was it? She smiled that little half smile humans were supposed to find reassuring. Byrne did not find it reassuring. But Blaze cut Char off. It's your turn, Blaze gestured at Char. Char drew a card out of Byrne's hand. The queen was gone and Byrne sighed in relief. Thanks, Char rolled her eyes. You're welcome, Byrne smirked. There was a lull in the conversation, and Byrne took the quiet opportunity to listen into the conversations around him. Apparently the Cepheid had been put down, but an entire brand lost their copyright to it. Byrne drew a card from Sparks. They were starting to run low, and he was out of pairs, even with an extra card. Blaze drew from Char's dwindling hand of 4. Why don't we ever see Bunsen around? Byrne tried to cut the tension building in him with a distracting conversation. Char drew a card from Byrne's hand. Well, you were a comms unit, right? Shouldn't you know? Char discarded the last of her cards. Sparks pouted and Blaze rolled her eyes. Do you remember anything from before you were part of our brand? Blaze still had plenty of cards, but no pairs among them. Or she was choosing to hold back and go for a 4 of a kind like Char had. Sparks tried to most often, but she was a bit too impatient for that to work. Nope! I woke up, met all of you, and that's how it's always been. Sparks nodded to herself. Well, except Bunsen. I've never seen him. But maybe he's just too lazy to come out here and play with us. They all waited, but no response was forthcoming from Bunsen, so Byrne drew from Sparks' hand and discarded a pair, leaving him with 1 card. We should go see him. There's nothing saying we can't, right? Oh, I've never been to Central Comms. Do you think we could even find Bunsen in there? Sparks drew a card and discarded a pair. She was down to 1 now, and Byrne wouldn't have a pair when his turn came around. We'd only been in the way, and you know it. Bunsen can come see us if he's going to. Blaze discarded a pair. 3 cards left in her hand, and Byrne only hoped she hadn't set up for 4 of a kind. Sure, but Byrne drew a card from Sparks, who preened like she'd won, and he supposed that technically she had. There were no winners in the game, only a loser. He was dismayed to find the queen in his hand.
Byrne stopped short of saying what he wanted to, biting the edge of his tongue lightly. Blaze was his direct superior, and she was in charge of their brand. Still, he had to ask, wouldn't it be nice to have us all together in one place, even if it's just for a moment? You know, for the sake of team building. I can put in a request, but it's not likely. Blaze drew from Byrne's hand and discarded all 4 of her cards. Byrne didn't need to look at his own hand to know that he'd lost. I imagine even in the future timeline, Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards are still being manufactured and it's being played. Amazing. I love it. I'm going to talk about that scene with you guys in a bit more depth later. When I decide to talk about how writers use symbols and stuff, but today we're editing. Today we're editing, but first we hydrate as chat demands. And then a big stretch. Big stretch. Munch, munch, munch. Oh, I have pizza to munch. There we go. Oh yeah, right. For body break, we will do twists. We will start with them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, okay, we did them. Hot dogs! I had tacos for lunch. Sciencemans are giving me an ice pop thingies, and I'm going to make that everyone's problem. Yes! We love making it everyone's problem. Okay. Byrne still had plenty of charge, so he decided he'd drop in on the one member of the brand he had never seen. He was curious to see if the comms units were designed to look more human like he had been. Because maybe they were designed to be more human... Wait, what? He was curious to see if the comms units were designed to look more human like he had been. Oh, I know what I need. He was curious to see if the comm units were designed to look more human like he had been, because maybe they'd been designed to work in close contact with the brand ambassadors. Yeah, there we go. Because maybe they were designed to work in close contact with the brand ambassadors, which would explain why he was slow and found his body difficult to use. He walked the corridors until he came to a door leading to central communications. It was just like any other door along the hall, and Byrne hesitated before reaching out for the knob. His fingers brushed cold brass, and his hand closed around the metal. Byrne was a few steps down the hall before the sign pointing to Comms Central caught his attention. He still had plenty of charge, and he could hardly go back in the charging dock after such a wild morning. He considered going to see Bunsen. He didn't know what Bunsen looked like, but if comms units were designed to be more human-looking without needing to be designed for combat, it would explain why Byrne was struggling to keep up with everyone else. The door to central communications was just like any other door in the hall. Plain, white, brass-knobbed, and boring. Byrne stopped in front of it and stared. He felt a sense he thought might have been déjà vu, but dismissed it as old data that hadn't been overwritten yet. He'd been a comms unit. He would have seen this door 100 million times going to and from. He grasped the brass knob. Byrne found himself partway to what had been a mess hall back when brand ambassadors had still been needed. It was now a sort of common room where brands could meet with each other and exchange information. Technically, they didn't need a room, but it put humans at ease to see them talking to each other. Byrne had never seen Bunsen or any of the other comms units in the common room. If Bunsen couldn't make it to him for some reason, he would go and see Bunsen. The doors to the comms room were just like any other in the hall. Plain, white, brass-knobbed, and unremarkable except for the communications that had been stenciled on in blue. Byrne grasped the knob and turned. The door swung open. Byrne was glad to be back in his own room. The repair work must have taken more out of him than he thought. His charge was practically depleted. He tucked himself into the contact charger and went into standby mode. I really like writing things like this where the reader is also being like, hello? Author? ¿Qué pasa? Qu'est-ce que c'est, pardon? One of my favorite things to do. This is a scene that I will elongate later. I'll come back and do, like, more complicated descriptions. I love my notes to myself. And that would explain why he was slow and found his body difficult to use. It sure would, but also none of that is right. It's because he's a brain in a jar. My notes to me are fun. We can't sit idly by and do nothing. Oh, wrong voice. We can't sit idly by and do nothing. We'll waste away at this rate. Veronica's voice was taut from the strain of too often being told yes when no would have sufficed. Not for the first time, Adam wished he hadn't said anything, but what Veronica was proposing was insane at best and deadly at worst. No one's arguing the need for a plan, it's just that your plan— Adam stopped short of saying what he wanted to, biting the edge of his tongue lightly. Veronica was still his direct superior, and she was also in charge of the whole of Aurora, which, as far as they knew, was the last bastion of humanity left on Earth. Still, he had to ask the big question. Would we even still be human? Veronica's mouth curled into something Adam almost mistook for a smile until she spoke. We'll be better. And anyway, then I started a new scene but didn't know where I was going with it. So anyway, the first part of editing I find is just reading through the part you want to work on. This is only 11 pages, so it's good enough. And I did the big thing that I wanted to do, which was to take and put the card game in a more sensible place. Because putting this here and then going to the doctor and then changing the day when it's still probably about noon just seemed a bit silly. So I was like, you know what? No, they get the whole day to do stuff. Oh, thank you, Princess Elise. I am teaching people how to write. Chat came up with the ideas that are present here. I have just been putting words and form to them. Let's see. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. You also can see that I'm writing clues to myself on the side. Because there are things that I know about this that we all know about this. From the characters and from the idea board. Did I put anything in my keynotes yet? Probably not. And from the clue codex. There's stuff we know that's important there. I love our idea board. Mina, add 2 characters. Mina, a cute and shy Vocaloid, and Harold, an uber nerd with mad skills. Vocaloids aren't really a thing in this particular place. But nerds are. Nerds are definitely a thing. I do need to name Veronica's team. Do-do-do-do-do-do. No, Val, you may not be on her team. You are not a monster. No, you're not. Oh, it's time for Anne break. You are not. Okay, back to doing silly things. We're gonna play Sushi Cat. I don't remember where I was playing it last time. Please don't be too loud. 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 Why are you so noisy? Oh, you're not too bad. Come on.
One more cat.
This is a game I also used to play all the time when I was feeling bored or tired or didn't feel like it. So we'll play this until... And this is important too to learn. That sometimes when you're writing or doing something, if you're in the zone, that's all well and good. But like, you do still have to take a break. It's still important that you take breaks regularly and do something else to let your mind just like chill for a second. Cause like...
Yeah. Full belly! Good work, cat.
I won't be able to get all of these bonus sushi, but I will try to get a bunch. Yeah, well, letting your brain take a break for... Wow. Letting your brain take a break for a second is a very important thing to do, because if you don't do that, then it gets overwhelmed. And you have to let it take a break before you think you need a break. Because at the point you think you need a break, you have well past the point where it's going to help. I think of it like this. Say for instance, you have a bottle of water like I do. Oh, ad break's over. Well, we'll finish this level. Say for instance, you have a bottle of water like I do. You could sip at that bottle of water the whole way through stream, right? Just taking little sips and bits and bobs. Oh yeah, that's the spinny one. Just taking little sips and bits and bobs from it. Because, and you have to, because if you wait until the very end of stream and try to drink 2 liters of water all at once, you will hurt yourself. I know.
Full belly!
I know you're probably all wondering, but how would you even get at those sushi that are underneath of that? You get there by this thing spinning good. I thought the badman in Minecraft... I thought the badman in Minecraft was the dragon. I love this old game. Okay, back to it. Yeah. But, like, you have to sip at it, because otherwise, trying to drink 2 liters of water at once, you're not going to get anywhere. And that's why when you take, like, you should generally take short little itty-bitty breaks, like I'm doing with the ad break. Okay, so we've run through our sort of first pass of what we've got going on here. We've corrected most of the grammar and stuff. Google thinks preened here should be pretended, and it's wrong. Because Google can't read what I'm writing. And it's bad at predicting. If you have spell check and grammar check and stuff, it's wrong most of the time. The one thing I will say is that LibreOffice has spell check, and it's pretty solid. But it's like old spell check, not like this. You should still double check anyway, though. See also, ounce and once are not the same word. Okay. So, I am overwhelmed by the need to write more new stuff, but I really super can't because we're editing tonight, and I'm very determined to edit tonight. So, the next thing that we do is we sort of went through, we listened, we heard, everything checks out. There are some things that are missing here. Like this. There are some things that are missing here. And one of those things is I'm often very light on description. I will put description eventually, but a lot of the time what I like to do is write the dialogue out and write the action out, and then go back and fill the description in later. That's one of the things I do when I edit. Which I know sounds like a weird thing, but in my head I know what everyone's doing and where they are and what's going on and all of that. In practice, the reader is just getting a vibe check. They're like, that sure is a thing, I know what it looks like, I guess. I'm like, it's a parking garage, and the reader's like, alright. And I'm like, I know exactly what parking garage it is. Because I modeled it off one I know, but, like, you don't know that. I know. I know you guys probably want more new content for it, but that's we gotta edit. We gotta do it right. And sometimes when you're running through, you will get the urge, when you're editing, you will get the urge to write new content. That's okay. Let me go through this. We've done a sort of first pass for funsies. There is one thing I want to chat about while I'm here and thinking about it. We'll talk about the cards scene now because I think it's interesting. Oopsie doodle. I just really need to put these tabs in. I know, y'all are probably just like, that seems like the weirdest thing to want, but you don't understand how bad I need them. It doesn't look right if they're not there. This is just a stylistic thing that I need. I need it for me. Oh, there's one more thing that we should probably check, and that's the idea board. Make sure that we are correct in the things that we're doing. Yeah, editing's important, and I need you guys to know that, like, writing is fun and great and wonderful, and I love it. I don't like to edit very much. It's not my favorite part of writing. I know a lot of writers love the editing process. They're just like, I've already got a story down. It's not the best story, but, like, it's already written. Now all I have to do is fine-tune it and tweak it. And I'm like, no! Why can't it come out perfectly wholly formed and the best ever? Why? Why do I have to go back and, like, fix it? It should be right. Nope. Bloop. Bop. This isn't staying, but I don't know what it's going to be. No, you guys are back. You're fine, right? Right? Hope chat's not broken. I don't like when chat breaks, because then I have to try to fix it. Anyway, let's talk about the card scene, because it's fun. I have to explain to you guys the rules of Old Maid. Also, I want to talk about this scene too, but that's a different reason that I want to talk about that scene. Okay, so they are playing Old Maid. I made a note to myself. There's not much else they could play besides Go Fish that would be a challenge to a robot. And the reason for that, the reason that I don't have them playing something else, is because since the cards are not marked, Old Maid is still a challenge for a robot. Any other game is not going to be a challenge because they're just going to instantly calculate probabilities and then do the thing. So playing something like Balatro or poker, they're just going to instantly calculate probabilities and do the thing. And Burn can't do that because he has a human brain. Mm. Munch, munch, munch. So, sometimes when you're writing, two things will be going on in a scene. There'll be a conversation, and there'll be some kind of fight or contest or, like, conflict of some kind. Something that you can win. When this isn't an action movie, it's usually the antagonist and the protagonist fighting each other. Or they're fighting a mook or something. And the thing is that the conversation and the action support each other. So if you have an antagonist and a protagonist fighting each other, and the protagonist is winning, you'll hear like better points come out of them. You'll hear the gotchas come from whoever's winning, and the fight will change based on who's winning the conversation. That's what's happening here. We are playing a game where the object is to discard pairs. Now, we're playing by the rules that I know. Rules for Old Maid that I know go like this. You have a standard deck of 52 cards. You take 3 of the queens out so that you're left with 1, so you have 51 cards. You deal the cards out. All of the cards get dealt out to everybody, so you have a hand of... If you're playing with 4 players, you have a hand of 13 or 12. And then what you do is, if you have a pair, you take that pair and you play it. Or, if you don't have a pair, or you want to go for 4 of a kind, you draw a card from the person next to you. You draw a card from their hand, and then put it into yours. And then if you get a pair from that, you can discard it, and if you don't, then you just have another card in your hand, and it's kind of annoying. The object is to get rid of your cards because the old maid has no pair, no match. She's kind of stuck. Oh, and the reason that Go Fish would be a challenge to a robot is because you, like, sploosh all the cards out into a fishing pond, and you don't keep them in the standard form of the deck, so it's not impossible to count cards, but, like, it's really hard to discard all your cards and Go Fish. I also marked down where the queen started, where it moved to, and then, like, realized as I was writing along, I'm like, wait, the rules of the game don't allow for me to do this, and then I was like, oh yeah, right. So that's why Blaze is having Burn dealt in, because she's including him in the conversation. Burn's right. A Cepheid that close would have been a disaster, so he discards a pair, because that's the move you're supposed to make in this game. I had to get my sensors recalibrated because of you. Yeah, of course you did, because you missed a whole Cepheid. Sparks draws a card because, yeah, of course she had to get her sensors repaired. She shouldn't be complaining about that. And Blaze is right, so discarding 2 pair, like discarding 4 of a kind, oh, sorry, I should put 4 of a kind. Blaze is super right here. You missed a whole Cepheid. That is a big deal. It is a miracle that Sparks only had to get her sensors recalibrated. So she has to discard, so she discards 4 of a kind, because, like, that's a big thing to be right about. But Char's also right. It was underground. It's a miracle Burn even saw it. And then this plays into what's actually happening here is this is a conversation that's going on between Blaze and Burn, because Blaze knows something's wrong. I wrote that in my notes somewhere. Blaze knows something's wrong. Um, Char and Sparks don't, but Blaze does. And I have notes for an explanation of why that is a little later. But, as you can see, anytime someone's discarding a pair, it's because they're right about something, or they have the upper hand in the conversation. Anytime they're drawing a card, and especially if they draw the old maid, it's because maybe they are right, but they do not have the upper hand in the conversation. They do not have control of it. So here, for instance, there were stairs. I almost tripped on them and I saw a light. That's true, but that's not a good response to this. Thus, having three cards and trying to choose the right one to put, because Byrne was absolutely trying to choose a correct response and didn't. But there is no correct response. That's the thing. There is no correct answer here. So he's got 3 of a kind. Because any response he gives is always going to go, I followed it because, and he's not gonna know. Also, fun fact about me, he kept the Diamond 4 is a joke for me personally. It's a fear lore thing. We were playing a different card game, and my 4 of Diamonds got ripped in half, and we medical taped it back together. So we still played with the deck anyway, because we did. It was all we had. But we always knew who had the 4 of Diamonds. I think I still have that deck of cards. I'll see if I do. It's somewhere if I do. I had a game case that I took to school with me regularly, because fish love to play games. And if you get enough of them together, you can play some really fun and exciting games. Anyway. And then we just sort of get derailed from the card game, because we're derailed from the card game. A little bit. I followed it because... And Sparks discarded a pair. Blaze, I think he's broken. She's right. Sort of. I mean, she's not wrong. Blaze also isn't wrong, and therefore is discarding another pair, because she's getting what she wants, which is more information about what's going on with Byrne. Do you know that feeling when your mind is moving faster than your hands and you make a ton of typos and stuff? Yes. He was just at the doctor. If he was broken, the doctor would know. Char drew a card from Byrne's hand and discarded a pair of 4s. This is funny because, like, this is especially interesting because she took from Byrne what he couldn't discard, and, like, effectively what this is trying to show is that she picked up his mistake and is fixing it, kind of thing. She's giving him an out. Because he had the 3 of a kind, he had no correct answer, but she's taken the part that was left over of that no correct answer and is... You see what I mean? Like, this is on purpose. A lot of times when you see something like this in literature, even in YA novels and stuff, a lot of times when you see stuff like this, there is something else going on. Like, they're playing a card game, but the conversation in the card game will match. Oh. 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 Yeah. I put my beacon pizza crust in. It was harder than I thought it would be. I got through it and I didn't even get stuck. Save me. Alas, I cannot. Anyway. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Right. Saying I don't know is possibly the worst thing he could say. Because no robot doesn't know why they did something. And that is why, when he draws his card from Sparks' hand, he gets the queen back again. Then run your diagnostic. It'll tell you. Sparks is pouting and being annoyed and gets to put a pair down because she's just gets to.
Oh! Oh, I've been granted something. It is a meatball. Wait, maybe it isn't. Give me a second, chat. I need to figure this out. It is pasta sauce. Okay, it is super, super good. It is a very spicy pasta sauce. There was meat in it. It was a sausage. A little bit of sausage. It looked like a meatball because it was meat. Okay, right. Where was I at? Oh, yeah. Okay. I had to give aquarium staff opinions on whether it was tasty or not. It is tasty. But yeah. This bit here, Sparks discarding a card. Sparks is annoyed that anyone would have to run a diagnostic in the middle of, like, doing stuff. But gets to discard a pair anyway, because, like, that's annoying. She's right to be annoyed, is what I'm saying. I can do it later. Blaze being grumpy and demanding he do it now, and then Char knocking on Burns' head. Normally when you knock on somebody's head, what happens is you give it a little tunk, and the panel comes up and you can plug stuff in and interface with, you know, the brain parts that are in that head. But Burns' head won't open because there's an actual human brain in there. That's why Char is saying, huh, maybe something is wrong. And when Burns spits out, I thought it was a pulsar trying to hide, and Blaze discards a pair, it's because she's right. Something's wrong. She's got what she wanted. See? She's got what she wanted. And Char drew a card out of Burns' hand. That is because Blaze has control of this conversation. It's your turn. Blaze has control of this conversation. Char even gets the queen out of that hand. Like, she is trying to cover for Burn. Well, not trying to, but she is covering for Burn. Incidentally. Thus the thanks. You're welcome. That's not just about the card game. That's not just thanks for the queen. That's thanks for making me look kind of weird. I'm a repair bot. I should know what's wrong with you. That Burn is misreading. Because he's a human. Sorta. Human brain in there anyway. I put this in here because I'm like, I want to actually tell people what's going on because, like, he did come down here to be like, I wonder what happened to that Cepheid. I hope it's okay. And then we do that same thing again. Then we do that same thing again with different people having different, with different people getting different plays for various things. Char getting to discard all of her cards, for instance. Char drawing from Burns' hand and then getting to discard all of her cards is legitimately... You were a comms unit, right? Shouldn't you know?
He should. If he was. A comms unit, that is. Which he wasn't. Yeah. This is how we do it. I don't know if it's symbolism exactly. It's more that I like the gosh, I've forgotten the technical term for what I'm doing here. There is a technical term for when the action matches the words that are being said, but I've forgotten it. Like for when the action matches the conversation. I will say too that a lot of what I'm doing here a lot of what I'm doing here is stuff that I learned from film. These things happen in books all the time, but this happens much more often in film and television. The biggest example of that is actually a card game. When in old James Bond movies, when he's playing baccarat or when he's playing poker or whatever, when he's playing a casino card game, one of the important things about that is that that card game will tell you who is winning the conversation and who is getting what they want and so on. It's especially apparent in there's a card game scene in Goldfinger where Bond works out that that the titular Goldfinger is cheating at cards by having somebody else read over a person's shoulder, like read from a hotel room, read and transmit what the hand is that the other person has. So he takes that person out of the way, and then they're actually playing a game of cards. Which he then, proceeds to win. And I liked that. This is done a lot in film. It's done a lot in TV. I like it from spy and mystery novels, too. That's where you'll see a lot of this. And pulling it into sort of a sci-fi noir type thing, which is what this is going to be when I'm done, is a thing that I like doing. I'm a little sad that I had to do this with Old Maid, but I couldn't think of anything that Byrne could keep up with that the robots could also play and be functional with and, like, enjoy. They could be programmed to enjoy anything, but, like, I wanted them to still be functional. Do you think we could even find Bunsen in there? Once again, we are foreshadowing. Bunsen is tricky to find in racks and racks of little blinking black boxes. Because remember, the comm units are boxes. That is why Sparks gets to discard a pair. Do you think we could even find Bunsen in there? And like this part where Byrne realizes he's down to one card and he's not going to have a pair when his turn comes back around. So he's going to have to draw Sparks this last card out of her hand. That part there should tell the audience, the reader, that he is losing this conversation. He is on his last attempt. We'd only be in the way, and you know it. Bunsen can come see us if he's going to. Sure, but... And then he had to draw Sparks' card. Because she won. This is an incredibly weak way to put this. Like, wouldn't it be nice to have us all together in one place, even if it's just for a moment? You know, for the sake of team building? That is an incredibly weak reason to want to see a comms unit. It's not even the reason Byrne wants to see a comms unit, but he won't tell them the real reason. And this has a double meaning. Not only has he lost the game, he's lost the conversations. Woo! Oh, also, any of you that were playing, you've lost. None of you know what that is, I hope, but, sorry. I thought about it too. Which means I also lost.
That has infected me like a virus. Before I knew what it was, everyone would be like, everyone would just go around in a circle and be like, oh, I lost. And then I'd go, I win? And they'd go, what? And I'd go, I think I win? And they'd be like, you don't. And then there was this pause and then, wait, no, actually, you do. Yeah. And then everyone agreed that because no one had told me about it yet, that's correct. I am still winning. I couldn't think about a thing I didn't know about. Anyway, the other thing that we have to do here, I wanted to go through this and tell you guys all about how we're doing double meanings. The other thing that we need to do here is I need to elongate this out a little bit so that it can be even more confusing and clearly be like multiple attempts. I only want 2 or 3 attempts, but I need it to be clearly 2 or 3 attempts that like are not the only 3 attempts, just the most successful 3. Because what's actually happening here is every time Burn gets to Central Communications and tries to like open the door, he just gets like Deus Ex'd away. Hi, Streaky Bug, welcome in. For those of you that don't know what I mean when I say Deus Ex'd away, the Deus Ex cyborgs can be remotely controlled by the company that makes them, and they do not have any say in that. They can have stuff turned off. They can have stuff moved around. Deus Ex Machina. That is the reason for the name of the series. Yes, Deus Ex Machina is the reason. You've discovered it. You've discovered the exact amount of cleverness that the Deus Ex people had. Good work, everyone. I'm a genius. I'm not. No, you are. You did it. We do have to elongate some of these a little bit with a bit more description. I didn't want to repeat myself too much while I was writing. I was more interested in getting all of it down. But I will lengthen that stuff out. Also, I really hope y'all got the impression that Adam and that Adam is Byrne. His name is Adam Byrne. Like, yeah, I hope you did. Otherwise, what's this dream doing here? There we go. We can have you think a little more human when you wake up for the first time. Especially because, this bit here, I have echoed up here somewhere. Where is it? Burn stopped short. Yeah, here we are. Burn stopped short of saying what he wanted to, biting the edge of his tongue lightly. Blaze was his direct superior, and she was in charge of their brand. Still, he had to ask. Adam stopped short of saying what he wanted to, biting the edge of his tongue lightly. Veronica was still his direct superior, and she was also in charge of the whole of Aurora, which, as far as they knew, was the last bastion of humanity left on Earth. Still, he had to ask. We'll leave that as still he had to ask. I think it's funnier that way. I wanted an echo. As you might have guessed. Let's see. There's a couple of other things that I need to do, and one of them is make a better description of the Cepheid. I love describing monsters and weird stuff. I am going to make such a good description of that Cepheid. I also have to describe the people. Oh, and I should go through and watch my, check out my notes too. Yeah, and match the others.
this is a good place for me to tell the team, like, to explain what the team looks like. Burton didn't see why they'd be needed, talking about the ladders in the office space. This is called foreshadowing, and he is going to need to climb these later. Thanks, Chekhov! It is. Just leftover comms unit programming. Comms units are programmed not to want to leave the base or central communications. They can't anyway, but the programming keeps them from thinking about it. Which is why they never see Bunsen. Like, not only are they programmed that way, but also, like, they are literally just a little black box. So they're programmed that way to preserve their sanity. They're all programmed a little differently, too. So, like, Bunsen, whose whole shtick is being kind of like a radio DJ, Bunsen won't leave because you can't leave the booth. You can't leave the booth while you're live. Like, obviously, why would you? Like, that's not a thing you do. But if you had a different comms unit with a different shtick, they'd have a different reason for not wanting to leave. Can't leave the booth when you're live. If you had one that was a bit more like, that kept their team's spirits up in a bit more of a like, in a bit more of like a heroic way, they might have the like, that's the sacrifice I'm willing to make kind of thing. Where it's like, I live here, I stay here all the time and watch constantly. And that's what I do. Because if I don't, then somebody dies. If I sleep, people die. If I leave, people die. What do you think my shtick would be? I think you'd have like an idle shtick. Like, you'd just be very chatty. And they're supposed to be very chatty. I think you'd just be very chatty with your team and be like, wow, tell me about your cool thing that you know. Here's a fun fact. Here's an interesting thing I learned. Stuff like that. I'd just be yapping in my team's ears. Exactly. What else have we got? Oh yeah, practically hypnotic. I put that in. That's because Lucent is hypnotic to a human brain, at least a little. Burns having phantom limb syndrome. True facts, once again, it's phantom limb syndrome. Tough luck, buddy. You're the main character. Counter Tactician is the actual name. Oh, yeah. I saw a light. I thought the pulsar had taken shelter. Dr. Fleetman paused in her work but returned to it. She knows he's lying. She knows that can't be true because that's not the job of a counter tactician. He shouldn't have been able to get off of the path that the scout set in the first place. Dr. Fleetman hit some connection or other that made Byrne cry out in pain. She's doing that on purpose. Byrne frustrated her by suggesting that long-term safety testing was important to prevent another Lucent incident from happening while they were working together, so she's taking it out on him now in little ways. That's my note to me. Byrne thinks he got a whole brand's copyright revoked by his mistake. You're an experiment. This is actually true, but not in the way Byrne's taking it, because he's taking it as exactly as she says. Veronica is just needling him because she hates the person he was before they did all the stuff to his brain. Oh, by the by, his brain is in there. And his mind is also still in there. It just, he can't access it right now. Like the claws of a puppy on tile. He does have a puppy. Well, a dog, but he got the critter when it was a puppy. The pupper is a golden lab, dumb as bricks, and 10 times sweeter than anyone Byrne knows. The puppy is fine. Everything's fine. That dog is fine. That dog is a good dog. I don't know the name of the dog. But Byrne has a dog. The idea, Dr. Fleetman snapped the part back into place, is to suit the unit to the task. We've given you all unique personalities so that you can work autonomously, but the fact is that you weren't suited for your previous role. His previous role was as a scientist on her team. He had the temerity to suggest maybe not just jamming brains in robots before the long-term consequences could be worked out, so Veronica made him the first test subject.
Because she's nice like that, right? Right.
Oh yeah, right. This was long. So, the queen started off in Blaze's hand of 13. It moved to Sparks, who had a rare but possible hand with one of each card except for a 4. Well, enough to go for 4 of a kind. And I reminded myself you don't have to play your pairs. You can go for 4 of a kind. So the rules is just like Old Maid, except you can hold off for a group of 4. There's probably a more complicated version of this game that plays like Hearts or another trick-taking game, where the players score points, but Byrne can't keep the scores in his head like everyone else. And that's true, he can't! Maybe it was the 5 of diamonds. Well, either way, it doesn't matter. This was me reminding myself that Blaze knows. She knows that Byrne's not like them, and she's been suspicious since they were introduced. Byrne can't run a diagnostic. He has a brain, not a processor. He's momentarily dizzy because there's a brain getting slashed around. She knows he couldn't have run the diagnostic. Diagnostics leave the unit sort of catatonic. So, like, if you were running a diagnostic on yourself as a cool robot, you just kind of, like, sit there in, like, standby position. So you do the, like, half-lidded, like, neutral pose for all of your everything. So, you guys know what that looks like. I assume you've seen a science fiction at some point in your lives. Oh, yeah! Blaze here is acting on a technicality. When she goes, it's your turn. Blaze here is acting on a technicality of her programming. She's required to protect members of her brand, but that means sussing out any malfunctions or abnormalities without introducing distrust into her team. So the reason that she's cutting Char off here, and with the, hey, it's your turn, the reason that she's redirecting is because she is acting on a technicality of her programming. Blaze is very good at acting on technicalities of her programming. She is extremely good at sussing out when there is a way to get around it. Like, she is absolutely the kind of person who's like, I'm not harming him. What do you mean you're not harming him? You dropped him off a building. I did not hurt him once. You dropped him from a building. Sure, but that doesn't hurt him. Yes, it does. Well, if we're going to trace the chain of causality back that far. But no, I didn't hurt him. He's dead. Yeah, I know. But I didn't hurt him. Well, then what do you think hurt him? The ground. He reached terminal velocity and hit the ground. Okay, but you dropped him off the building. Yeah, but that didn't hurt him. That's the kind of thing you have with her. It is, admittedly, a bit more nuanced, but that is the idea. I also wrote a note to myself to tell me that I really like the word copyright. Like, I really like the idea of lost their copyright to it being the way that these robots say that they died. because I like that term for being absorbed or dying, because the robots here aren't really truly alive, and losing copyright means a product can be genericized. So I like the idea of that. That was my note to me. What other notes do I have? Once again, foreshadowing. No, you cannot find Bunsen in the racks. I mean, you will. Byrne will find him eventually. Oh yeah, my notes to me here. Um, his charge was practically depleted. That's because he's been trying to get in comms all day and getting turned away. I also considered having a human turn him away, but we'll see if I do that or stick with Veronica remotely taking control Deus Ex style. I think I like it better with Veronica remotely taking control Deus Ex style, which is what she's doing. Okay, we've done our little baby edits. There are bigger edits that I probably could do at some point. I should go back and put all the descriptions in. This is the part that I struggle with, chat. Chat, I'm going to show you my struggles because I think it's important that you see them. This is the part I struggle with. I want to push forward and write more new stuff, but I also need to describe these robots. It's important that we know what these robots look like. Technically, this is new stuff, but it's not new stuff enough, you know? It's not new stuff enough. Wah! If you do descriptions, I'll draw you an emote free of charge whenever you need a new one, I mean. Don't offer me that. I will write descriptions very well. I have to. I know I have to. This is the part of editing that gets hard for me because what I want to do is write new stuff. And I don't want to do the editing part where I have to go back and write, like, add to the stuff that I already wrote. Because I don't like doing that. I find it a little bit boring. But it has to get done. It absolutely has to get done. This is so hard. So 9 times out of 10, what I do when I need to do this is I just like end up fussing around with a playlist for an hour and then I forget to do any editing at all until I get the playlist made. And then once the playlist is made, I'm tired and I set it aside. I don't know how to slot these in though. We don't know what they look like here. Okay, we hydrate his chat demands.
Body break. Oh, and then a big stretch. Big stretch. Whew. And then we'll do crunches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Okay. None of them have. We've imagined a face. Oh, I've been granted a tomato sauce. It's full of tomato and sausage and whatnot. Ow! It's warm. Hot even. Mm. And honestly, a little bit sweet almost. Doesn't quite taste like ketchup. But it doesn't not taste like ketchup. I don't know how to explain how this sauce tastes. Please tell me you know what Daiso is. Why wouldn't I know what a Daiso is? It's a dollar store. Yeah, they're primarily in Japan. I didn't know America had Daiso. I know what they are because I'm really excited about Japan. And I spend a lot of time engaging in Japanese media. So I get to see stuff like Family Mart and Daiso and stuff like that. And I'm like, I know those guys. I do love the konbini. Konbini! We love konbini. It's not super surprising because Texas is huge, but also in the South. And if I've learned anything about the American South, it's that y'all have $1 store per, like, square foot. If there is an American town, it has $2 stores. Probably they are across from each other. It probably has 3 more dollar stores on top of that, but they're, like, at weird places. Yeah, you should send photos. Send pictures. Anyway. I need a good spot to put the... Ooh, I missed a spot where I put tab. I just wanted so badly to write dialogue that I forgot to do anything else. I need to describe you guys. But that also means I need to know what you look like. Good news, chat. I need to know what they look like. Alright. What is this? Okay. 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 Okay, I did it. Wait, I'm invisible. Hang on. Yay! You can still see the browser behind me, but never mind that. Why can you still see the browser behind me? Bear with me. Okay, there we go. I fixed it. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing, chat. Some of you might know. And some of you might not. That when I don't know what to do, I like to draw. And the thing that I like to draw is sprites. My form of art, my form of visible art is, where is it? There it is sprite. And because of that, boop. What was I drawing? Oh, right, I know what I was drawing. Never mind that right now. Because of that, what ends up happening is sometimes I will just skitter in here and be like, I need to make a thing. Oh wow, that's just the same color. I need like a pale background color. Not that color though. Actually, I usually work on like a charcoal gray. There we go.
Okay. Woo! Alright, let's go. Let's draw Bunsen. Done! We did it. Oh, sorry. Not quite. We did it! I know it's slightly off-center. This is a 32 by 32. It's always going to be slightly off-center. I know. Anyway, we did it. That's what Bunsen should look like. I'm sorry that sprite work works in even numbers quite often. I do personally like there to be a middle and not like a mirrored spot, but sprite work is the way sprite work is. Actually, I know you guys weren't expecting art in the middle of this. But sometimes that's what that'll do. Sometimes that's what we have to do in order to get what we want. That should be about enough space. Now I can make this. There we go. Perfect. Beautiful. We can size this out in a second. Oh, and in fact, I'm going to have to. That'll do. Okay, we know the robots are red. Oh, this might be a bit too small. Usually I sketch these things out. Why did I reach for yellow right away? I could make this any color I want. Oh, but it can't be blue. I know why I reached for yellow right away. Okay, good. Also, this program definitely has layers, but heck that noise. You get to have an ear. Oh, this is a very old style of doing this. Looks like an old manhunt sprite. It really looks like an old manhunt sprite. I love that. Or like, well, not quite, but... Oh yeah, right. The, business suits are orange. Which, hilarious if true. Anyway, if I was sketching this out for realsies to actually draw it, I'd have to do something different, but I am not. I am sketching this out for funsies. Oh, it's not far enough out to be what I wanted, but that's fine. Okay, yeah, I think I have an idea. Nope, don't need it. Okay, I have an idea! Oh, 3-minute ad break. Amazing. My idea is more sushi cat. Boop. More sushi cat. Welcome back. I have an idea. Yes, of course, you were missed. You're always missed when you're not here. That's how it works. I thought I did this one already. Oh, no, wait. No, I didn't. Come on. Oh, darn it. You can do it, Sushi Cat. One more cat. Aw, darn it. Oh, 2 sushi left. Well, done. Solved. We'll go for it. We'll see if we can get one more cat. No! These things all spin. Oh, so close. Uh-oh. No! No, Sushi Cat, no! Oh no, buddy! Oh no! That's not enough cat. Oh, welcome back, everybody. We'll finish this silly Sushi Cat level, and then we'll go back to doing the brilliant thing. Yes! Oh, double score. That's not what I thought that would do. I thought that would give me one more cat. No! No, the other way! Sushi Cat, no! I thought you wanted sushi, my baby boy! No! It's so hard to get to the sushi at the bottom. Alright. Back to silliness. Okay. The problem is that Byrne knows what these people look like. So here's the thing. Usually when I'm describing people, I can sneak it in because it's the first time people have met each other. So if I'm describing a monster, for instance, that Andre's dealing with, I can describe it because it's the first time he's seen it today. So he's thinking about it, what it looks like, and that's easy to deal with. I can just be like, oh, lol, he's looking at a creature. Sure is creature. But with somebody like Byrne, he knows what his friends look like. He knows what his brand looks like. He doesn't need to describe them. So I am trying to find ways to sneak description in. Like, for instance, like... this is here. This bit about Bunsen being programmed to keep the spirits of the team up is here because Byrne notices it every time and is like, come on, man. Like, why are you weird? This commentary on the way that Blaze is talking is here because, like, I'm tired of this man. What is Blaze doing, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? As usual, Blaze's voice came through the comms, frustrated to be torn away from whatever she had been doing to whatever they were about to be doing. What had she been doing? What have you been doing, honey? What's the... There's something going on here. There's something going on here that I'm missing. Blaze, what do you know that I don't? I think she knows something that I don't. So here's the thing, chat. This is an important thing to learn. Sometimes you'll be writing along and you'll be like, okay, I know without a shadow of a doubt that whatever I've written here is accurate and true. What does my character know that I don't? Now, some people will tell you. Some people will tell you that your character can't know anything that you don't because you're the writer. Those people are correct. However, I like to think of it less as, what is my subconscious trying to communicate when I'm writing this? What am I drawing on? What inspiration, what ideas am I drawing on here that I've put into this that I didn't notice I was using? I like to think of it less like that and more like, what's my character know that I don't? What is she doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What have you got there? A knife! No! No! So what is she doing? Brendan never really had the time to ask Blaze what she did in her downtime cycle, but he always found himself strangely curious about why she sounded so annoyed. So what was she doing? What is she doing? Blaze, what are you doing? I know that she is later going to be on Byrne's side about things. I know that she is going to be trying to help Byrne. And that she is currently, at least a little bit, trying to help him. Because he's part of her brand. And it's her job to protect her brand. But what is she doing? There we go. Blaze is doing something related to investigating what Byrne is, but she doesn't investigate in a way that human brains can contemplate, so Byrne is our main character. That tracks. Probably, anyway. Probably, anyway. Maybe she's just reading old science fiction. Maybe both. Okay. Where am I gonna plug these things in? Like, this stuff is all good. Charlotte's heavy boots. We know she's like big because she's got like clunk, 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 clunk going along the hall. Actually, Char gets the most description so far. She big. She weighty. She generally like cheerful, but not in the way that Sparks is like overexcited. Sparks is Sparks is Genki. She's excited to be here. She's 5 foot nothing, and all of that 5 feet is energetic. I want these bots to look stylized human. Like, they don't look human quite. But not so stylized that... Not so much that they fall into the uncanny valley. I guess technically they're going to fall into the uncanny valley anyways. I don't know why I'm spending so much time thinking about what they look like. I do have to describe them, I guess, is why I'm thinking about it. And sad. How many people was that lady going to break up with? Taylor Swift, Adele, etc. Also, I've learned that y'all apparently pronounce etc. like just the letters. I heard somebody say ETC and was like, what? Because I was like trying to figure out how it was an ETA. Oh, you don't understand. I've heard people say it. I've heard ETC. I've heard ETS. And I was like, ETS what? This is short for etc. This is an abbreviation for etc. Please, fam. Etc. sounds cool. I know you don't say that, Val. I understand. I am speaking to the people who are out there saying ETC. Those people need to stop and say etc. because it's cool. Listen to it. It rolls off the tongue so good. I can also spell out etc. Probably. Maybe even on the first try. I spelled it out on a board once when I was writing instructions. And the children were like, excuse me, what is that? And I'm like, etc. And they're like, oh. ETC. And I'm like, no. etc. Aquarium staff thinks I know esoteric shenanigans. I do. Like what etc. is. But, that is not better. Oh, please. This exchange of that is not better. And I don't know. I like it. That is meant to indicate that he is in fact a contrarian. But isn't really. Because also, and Char's right, Bunsen, give us something more upbeat. And then the comms robot does it. Instead of waiting for Blaze to tell him. Throw them out the window. No, I'm not allowed to throw them out the window. I can't throw people out the window. I'm 4 centimeters tall. Okay. So. Maybe I can stick it in here? Like, I've been giving little bits and scraps. I've been giving little bits and scraps like this is a podcast or something. Hmm. I guess this is getting me to do other stuff too. So, like, there is that. Let's see. Without feeling intrusive in the way that older models did. Okay, there we go. I know older models were intrusive in a way for humans where it's like, but that would be illogical. I'm a scout. For safety, I must scout ahead. Whereas with Sparks, we've got, I wanted to go first. Which is part of her programming to make humans feel less, like, threatened by that. I've got to be able to scoot it in here somewhere. Oh, actually, I can. That was also why. There we go. That was also why Sparks was so small and slight. It helped humans remember she was the fastest unit. Her huge eyes... Yeah, there we go. I got it. Her huge eyes reminded them... Perceptive... Yeah, there we go. That was also why Sparks was so small and slight. It helped humans remember she was the fastest unit. Her huge eyes reminded them that she was the most perceptive. And... yeah, there we go. And her mottled gray body blended in with the with her surroundings. There we go. There we go. Do we want to give color to these eyes? Green or yellow? Chat, what are the eyes on our scout? Yeah, green's pretty eye-catching. There we go. Okay, we've got one of them done. We might have to come back around. But like that is absolutely a thing that follows from Byrne's already thinking about what the older models were like. It is absolutely a thing that follows that he would be thinking about, like, that's also why, like, the older models were, like, kind of obtrusive and intrusive. That's also why, like, Sparks was small and slight. It helps remind humans that she's fast. Big green eyes remind them that she's really perceptive, and her mottled gray body and short dark hair blend in with her surroundings. Yeah, that tracks. Okay. So that's Sparks got a description. She's an anime. Because she's got the big eyes. She's an animal. Well, counter-tactician, but nobody called. That was the job of a contrarian unit. He was a contrarian unit. Well, counter-tactician. No, that needs to go in the previous sentence. Ba-da-ba. Thing is, once I actually settle into doing, like, edits and stuff, it gets a little easier. No, actually, I think I'll leave that. I'll leave that for later when Veronica's talking to him. Veronica, open the door, please. Veronica, open the door. Veronica, can we not fight anymore, please? Can we not fight anymore? Veronica, please, you're scared. I've been there. I got that stuck in my head again. Oh no. Throw them out the window. You want me to? I'll throw them out the window. Don't throw the children out the window because they don't know how to pronounce etc. I can't believe that poll went around and there were 10 options and none of them. So somebody asked on Tumblr, how do you pronounce this? And they wrote out etc. They wrote etc. like etc. dot. And they wrote out 10 different options and literally none of them were etc. There was one that was like some other way, and some other way had like 98% of the vote, and underneath someone had gotten the cat that reads, "Oh, you mean the heckin' etc." I only ever see that when it's like a weird I guess southernism or like a really weird regional term that everybody uses in the region but nobody uses outside of it. So I only ever see like the cat with the, "Oh, you mean the heckin' whatever." I did not expect to see that here. Like, somebody was asking about a bathrobe, and they called it all sorts of different things, none of them a bathrobe. And, like, literally everyone underneath was just like, "You mean a bathrobe?" I think they called it things like dressing gown and a whole bunch of other stuff, and the rest, like, everyone was just like, "You mean the heckin' bathrobe?" Like, I know OP hated all those comments. Oh, you better believe. I know when people post polls like that on Tumblr and they get the, "Oh, you mean X," that they're just so mad. Or maybe they're just like, "Wow, really? You guys do that?" Like, okay, so story time, chat. In the Maritimes, we say things funny. Sometimes we have weird words for stuff. Sometimes those weird words for stuff don't make sense to the rest of Canada. And sometimes that means that because we have a very small population that talks kind of funny, that things that you think are ubiquitous and you ask for them, you'll get weird stuff. For instance, uh, going to Montreal or Ontario, like Toronto, and asking for brown bread will get you whole wheat. I hate that for me. I think they are the ones who are wrong. We also have terms like, we also have terms and phrases that are a bit weird. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's on the pogey. And, you better believe that, no one outside the Maritimes knows what that means. I once I once had a couple of friends who were from way outside that were like, "What?" when I said that about somebody else. I will let you guess what it means if you want. Meanwhile, I'm back to this. Let me think. Do you want? I will. I would spell it out, but then you could just Google search it, and I don't want that. So you are on your own figuring out what the pogey is. Uh, it's like a riddle. Some people's on to pogey sometimes, and that's just how it is. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Right, trying to sneak description in. What did... No, these ones look the most human. Blaze looks the most human out of all of them. Is it like unemployment benefits? Amazing! Yeah, the pogey's anything like that. Unemployment, welfare, So it is anything from EI to permanent disability to, um, Serb would have been pogey, on the pogey. There's a bunch of different things that it can be, but basically it's money from the government. It's most often EI, but it can be any of it. Although usually around here, if it's specifically disability, we'll say it's disability. We won't call it pension. And retirement's retirement. That's different. We will tell you specifically that we're on retirement, if that's what we're on. Anyway, that's one of those ones that mystifies people. I love mystifying people with weird stuff that we say here. It's so much fun. I don't even notice when I'm saying stuff that's like just here. Chat does though. Chat gets me. Okay, where was I? I know what Blaze looks like in my mind. Yeah, Blaze glared, red eyes seeming to light up. She's getting red eyes. Red, quote unquote. And anger. I forgot to take this as educational again. It technically is. I done been bonked. I done been bonked again. Oh. I love that little band-aid. It's such a cute one. Hi, Victory Rich. We're editing. Editing is hard. Yippee!
I just want to have a whole story. I'm like that dog. I'm like that cartoon dog. No ball, only throw. No right, only story. Hi, I'm trying. Keep up the good work. Thank you, chat, for the encouragement. We've got Sparks described. We know Blaze has red eyes. We can probably sneak a few other things in for her. There we go. Let's see. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, there we go. Okay, well. Blaze inhaled and exhaled sharply. She didn't need to do either of those things, but it helped keep her processors from overheating due to emotional stress. Her pale face couldn't blush or flush with color, so she had to have some other obvious way to communicate to the brand ambassadors that the parameters of a given situation were making it harder than it had to be. Yeah, that's good enough. That probably needs to be added to be a little bit smoother, but, like, that's fine. At least it's there. Want to describe their hairs. They all do have hair. Side note. And it's as humanoid as it can be. Because that makes humans feel at ease. A lot of the design choices for these units makes humans feel better. That's it. That's the list. That's the whole thing. Make human feel better. We'll figure that out as we go. Divine vision. I see. Give Char dark red hair. Why divine vision? I see. I see somebody's like, can you describe the big lady with... No. Maybe. Bum-ba-na-na. Bum-ba-na-na. Alright, I need to do this thing where my brain works. Oh golly, I did that thing again. I need my stream manager, thank you. There we go. I need to do this thing where my brain works. Shut up, I like her. She can stay. She can stay. She's in here. She's part of the group. Unless I erase her completely from existence, but I won't. We need her. I would never. We need her. I need Giant Lady. See, I'm 4 centimeters tall, so everything is giant to me. It's very easy to put giants. They big. Big chunky. Okay.
I will tell you right now that the robots all have unnatural tones to their quote unquote skin. Um, and I'm trying to figure out how to describe Blaze. Where'd I put it? Um,
There we go.
the white plastic that made up her face couldn't blush or flush with color, so she had to have some other obvious way to communicate to the brand ambassadors that the parameters of a given situation were making it harder than it had to be.
Yes.
Yes, good. We've got red eyes, we've got yellow hair, we've got just like chalk plastic white. You guys know that color. Bleach white, paper white. Maybe I will give her little a makeup for a treat. But we'll see.
I don't need to describe anymore here. Char gets described later. Sparks has description. Bunsen doesn't need description. Nobody knows what he looks like. Run, 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 run. Radio chatter, radio chatter. Oh yeah, I didn't communicate it very good. So I'm gonna do it now. I'm not sure how to say what I want to say. But you heard me read it. You heard me read. There's a Cepheid. Burn forced the message through the emergency channel. The hits just keep coming! Bunsen chimed in, cutting the music they'd been working by. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Cepheid sighted. Repeat, Cepheid sighted. Coordinates follow. Like, I need to get a description in there. Beep. I mean... So what's going on here is Bunsen is a comms robot. So he's programmed to keep everybody like excited and going. But at the same time, when you have to communicate with like home base or with other comms units or with other units in general in a brand, like in a brand that's different than yours, or you need to give very specific instructions, you do that in the same way air traffic controllers do. They have a specific name for what you do when you switch from the way that you talk to the way that you talk on the radio. And I have to go look that up later. But I need to be able to communicate, this is fun jokey tone, this is computer talk. But I will, don't worry. This is honestly enough description. This is all he cares about.
I'll come up with a better description for her later. I have an idea of what these robots look like. Char, do you get to have... Do you get to have red hair? What do you look like, ma'am? Truth be told, I'm gonna level with you. All Byrne cares about at this particular point is she big. She big, she safe. Crying out Mayday. Oh, no, none of that. I need Steven Universe. Bismuth subsilicate. Nah. Need the chunky lady from Steven Universe. Not too bad. Oh, thank you, the internet. The other chunky lady from Steven Universe. No, I think I like Bismuth better. Rose Quartz Jasper. Yeah, there's a body type I'm going for, and it's dwarf. Jasper's only frightening on account of her face and her general demeanor. Let's see. Dwarf. No, I don't think a description goes here. Or at least I've put enough of the description in here that all that matters, because like Byrne has a leg off. He's got a leg off. He's not paying attention. Oh, actually, I can sneak a little bit in there. She was built like a brick house. Almost double Byrne's height. No, that's too many high. Byrne's like 5'6". He's a little shorter than Blaze, actually. She is not 10 feet tall. Oh, fun fact about Canada is we're only partially metricized, so we sometimes use imperial measurements, even though we are, strictly speaking, we use the metric system. We have this weird situation where it depends on what you're measuring, which one you use. And I think that's neat. Are you measuring your height? You're probably going to say... you're probably going to use feet and inches. Are you measuring a distance to something? Like a long distance? But specifically? Then it's X number of kilometers away. Are you measuring that long distance, but like non-specifically? Then it's miles off. How fast do you go on the highway? X number of kilometers an hour. But you were going miles faster than the other guy. What's the temperature? Indoors, 65 degrees. Outdoors, 10 degrees. Celsius. I love this stuff. It's wild. Are you baking? Cups and spoons. Are you doing science? Milliliters. And stuff. Oh, are you baking? Cups and spoons. Are you buying something off the shelf? Liters. It's so weird. Liters and grams. We're weird like that, chat. You all needed to know. I needed to stop for that. Practically 2 feet taller than Byrne and at least as wide. And never was Byrne more grateful for it, for that than in this moment. It was comforting to fall into the arms of someone so much bigger, and it tricked his processor into thinking he was safe. Yes! I've done it! I've put more description. We're gonna guide you by hair color. What color hair would I give a nurse? Red. I love you, M dashes. Oopsie doodle. Guided by her bright red hair and pale blue. Yeah, let's go with blue. No. Bright red and pale blue don't quite work together. Gold! Not carapace. Carapace is a bug thing. What do robots have that's a carapace but not really a carapace? Casing.
Body break.
We're doing it. And we're not having a comma splice because we know what M dashes are. Chat, I need to tell you all something. I know you're afraid of using M dashes because, oh, but what if AI writes that way? Heck 'em. Do you know why we use M dashes? To avoid comma splice. You know when sometimes you write sentence fragment and then you write comma and then you put sentence fragment and then you put comma? You wanted M dashes there. You definitely wanted M dashes there, or probably like a semicolon or something. So like this. Byrne made it back to Char, guided by her bright red hair and pale gold casing, collapsing against her huge frame. This wants an M dash at the end, or something similar. This might also want brackets around it instead if I wanted to de-emphasize it. That would read a little bit differently. Byrne made it back to Char, guided by her bright red hair and pale gold casing, collapsing against her huge frame. That reads a little bit differently. but it still works.
Oh, yeah. Big stretch. Big stretch. Oh, and we hydrate as chat demands. Delicious. And for body break, let's do twists again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, we did it. Anyway, chat, I'm going to write more of this, probably. If I don't have more to work with next week on Monday, we'll do a different thing for a little bit. But I like doing this with all of you. Anyway, it's now closing time, and we hope you enjoyed your visit to the Octopus enclosure. Woo! Bloop. Yeah, we are going on an adventure now. Where will we go? It's a mystery. Crying out Mayday. Oh, you've been to a convention. Let's go visit Beat. Ba-dunk. Oh, thanks for coming along, everybody. I stream every night. I like streaming. You guys know that. Alright, that is it for tonight, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow. We're going to solve mystery by Mad Libs tomorrow.